This is the Tough Outs Podcast with the Damage Hitter Shield, where fathers lead, sons grow, and men are built behind the shield. Today, by a really good player just finishing his senior year asked me this question that I've been asked numerous times, right? And it's a really simple question. Should I attend showcases? And obviously, this is a simple yes or no question. And I'm telling you that the industry is built on the fact that this is a yes or no question, and that the conversation happens in an elevator. It's a 3-minute, yes, you should attend. Everyone who plays, who goes to showcases has a chance to get more exposure. There's going to be X amount of coaches there, and it's something that you have to have. Or no, you should not attend, and the reason is because I had a bad experience. It didn't work out well for my son, and it's a waste of time and money. But the reality is that there's a lot more to it than that. And today I'm going to share with you a better way to think about it, a different way to think about it, more open-minded perspective. I'm going to tell you straight out up front, I'm not a big believer in showcases for the majority of players because of the reasons I'm going to tell you now. So the question I ask when this is brought up is, who are you as a player? Are you a plow horse, a show pony, or a stallion? Okay. If you're a stallion, then your tools line up on the far side, right side of our board, the excellent side. If you are a show pony, your tools line up towards the middle of our board. And if you're a plow horse, your tools line up across the board, but mostly from the middle to the low end. And what I mean by that is this: a plow horse is somebody who, when you see them and you watch them, you're not necessarily impressed. But they show up and they plow every day. They do the work every single day. The show pony shows up and they look really good. They impress you with the way their uniform fits and the way they move and some of their actions, and their tools are average or too close to above average. But when they play the games, they're just more show than they are ability to play. And the stallion is the guy whose tools are so far on the right side that you can't help but to think they can play. Now, the three of these guys together or individually, but thought about together, all have a chance to be some type of a good player. But if you think about Major League Baseball and you think about high-level Division I baseball, the thing that you hear people talk about is the 5 tools and being a 5-tool player. The stallion is a 5-tool player, a player who does all of the 5 tools: run, throw, defend, hit, and hit for power at the excellent or the above average area. They might have 1 excellent, 4 above average. They might have 2 excellent, 3 above average. They might have 1 excellent, 3 above average, and 1 average. They might even have 1 excellent, 1 poor, and 3 average. But that excellent is going to be excellent. The show pony is a person who's average across the board, but looks a little, maybe even a little above average, and you just got to see them play. And they're a show pony. They look really good, but they're not gritty. They're not grimy. They're not just attacking at all times. And then the plow horse is the guy who's average, maybe just above, maybe just below, but when you go watch them play the game, they're just always in the right spot. They're in a good at bat all the time. They're in the right attitude and mentality all the time. So I'm going to tell you right now, if you're a plow horse, which to have a good chance to be a good player, the majority of us have to be, because frankly, we don't have super extended tools. If you're a plow horse, going to a showcase is not going to be of a great benefit to you. And I say that thinking that we're all trying to go to a showcase and we're all thinking about going to LSU or Arkansas or Vanderbilt or some Power 4 team. And by going to those events, if you're not on the far end of this board, if you're not out there on the excellent end, it's going to be very easy for you to be looked past. Whereas if you're on the far end and you're a stallion, you're going to catch people's attention. Now, the showcase is a very rare opportunity for you to go out and get a scholarship. The showcase is the place that you go and you show that you can do these tools, and then at what level you do these tools, and then that piques the interest of coaches that you fit for their program. So Power 4 teams that are trying to win World Series need players that have 2 or 3 excellent tools. Major League Baseball teams that want to win championships are looking for players that have 5 excellent tools, or the potential to have 5 excellent tools. Obviously, they have to settle for less because the 5-tool player is hard to find. But settling for less does not mean settling for players who have average to below average tools. So in order to make sure that we have a good feel for what these tools look like, I've put together the tangible tools and the tools that aren't tangible on this list. So tangible means something that we can actually grasp, feel, see, we can record. And so running and throwing are those tools, which means anybody who has a stopwatch or a radar gun can determine that you are an average, above average, or excellent runner or thrower. And here's the numbers that I use to determine this. This is not Major League Baseball's determination. This is my years of a scout, what I decide what an average or above average runner is. Okay, so we're going to talk about running. Here we go with average. The way you would rate these guys is on a 2 or 20 to 8 to 80 scale. So 2 would be poor, low end. 8 would be excellent, high end. If you want to describe an excellent player who's an 80, then I would say in our generation, and maybe a little bit before you, if you're a younger guy watching this, is Barry Bonds. He was an 80 runner. Maybe he was the 70 runner, but he was a good runner. He had 80 power, can't be denied. He had an 80 hit tool, can't be denied. He was an 80 defender in his young days before he became one of the bigger guys in the league. And he had probably a 70 arm. So that would be, to me, a 5-tool player. Maybe somebody who saw him play at a younger age would say that he had a 75 or an 80 arm. Maybe they said they can see him run at a 80 clip. But I didn't see that. So what I did see is what I just described. And that's what's so important and fundamentally needs to be understood, is all I can tell you is what I saw. I'm not going to report to you that I saw Barry Bonds be an 80 runner, because I didn't. I'm not going to report to you that I saw the local high school kid who throws 95 throw 95, because I didn't. When I went to the game, he was 86 to 91, and he was really good, but he didn't throw 95. So what somebody else reported they saw one throw isn't important to an evaluator. It's not important to a college coach. It's not important to a scout. What's important to them is what they've seen or what people they trust to see baseball players have seen. So to describe this for you, an average runner, a 50 runner at the major league level from a left-handed batter runs 4.2 down the line. A right-handed batter runs 4.3 down the line. That would be an average time. And the 60 would be a 6.8. That's me and my scale. Not Major League Baseball scale, not the Kansas City Royals, the Pittsburgh Pirates, the New York Yankees. I will tell you that I'm not going to be far off of their scale because I worked in the industry. But I also haven't worked in the industry in a few years, and when we get a little bit further down the road, there could be some adjustments to the scale. But for me, in the games that I've watched, this is what it is. And I skipped the above average and was right over to the excellent. An excellent left-handed runner runs a 3.9 down the line, home to first. An excellent right-handed hitter runs a 4.0 down the line, home to first. And an excellent 60-yard dash is 6.4. All right, so you can do the math on what that looks like between there for the above average. But it doesn't really matter if you're average or above. If you're average or excellent, then you are considered either a show pony or a stallion for the purposes of this discussion. Are there plow horses that run well? Yes, there are. And that's a topic for another discussion that we'll be having later on in this video. For throwing, the way I judge an average thrower from their position is them taking a routine gather, a shuffle and throw as an infielder, 2 shuffles and throws as an infielder, or a 1 crow hop or step behind as an outfielder and throw. If they're throwing 88 to 90 miles an hour, they're an average major league thrower for me. Anybody who's 95 plus miles per hour is an excellent major league thrower for me. But that has to be in an under control, field the ground ball, take your shuffle, get it out. Field the ground ball, take 2 shuffles, get it out. Field the ground ball in a backhand situation, dig into the backside, get it out. And it has to be these numbers to be average to above. Okay? It has to be, the running time has to be from the click of the bat to touching of the bag, or them running a 60 straight up on the start line through. Anybody who gets a run up for that 60 is not, and gets this number is not average for me. They're below average. If they're right on the line and they get this number, then they're average. And if they get a better number, they're above average. Notice I didn't put in the poor numbers because the poor numbers don't matter to me. If you have a poor number, your tools aren't at a standard rate for you to play at a high level junior college, at a high level NAIA, at a high level Division II, at a high level Division I. That doesn't mean that there's not places for you to go, but most people who are thinking about showcases are thinking about Power 4, high level junior colleges, high level programs that they've heard about being winning and being excellent. So when you ask me, should you go to a showcase, I'm going to ask you, what kind of player are you and where do your tools fit? Thousands of baseball players are trying to get recruited, and most of them are getting overlooked. Not because they're not good enough, but because they don't have the right plan. Elite Recruits is that plan. They work with uncommitted players to figure out where they actually fit and connect them with college programs still looking for guys. If you or your son are still trying to find a college fit, go check out Elite Recruits and use the code Coach Karl for a 10% discount. In order to get a running tool and a throwing tool, you do not need to go to a showcase. You can go to Walmart and get a $15 stopwatch. You can go to any academy and find a radar gun, probably for free. If you want to spend $300 to $500, you can get a portable radar gun. In Kansas City, we have a local company that makes them, and there's also a national company that you can pull out of your pocket and get the radars and get these numbers to know, am I poor? Am I excellent? And how do I fit in? Now, having tools is just the baseline of becoming a player that can play at a higher level. So if you have 5 average tools, then you could play at a very high level. You could play Power 4, you could play professionally, you could be an average player in the big leagues. The next question is, have you played enough baseball to compete with 9 other players on the field that have 5 average tools? If you have, a showcase could get you enough attention to get coaches to come watch you play at that level. If you have 5 average tools and you start playing with 7 or 8 players that are excellent, you could compete there. But you have to show those tools in a game or in a showcase for coaches to be interested. So the question, should I attend showcases, is if you have tools that stand up and you're trying to get attention for people to come watch you play, yes, you should attend showcases. But not just generic showcases where people are said, hey, come to this showcase, give us some money, we're going to report your tools, we're going to report your numbers, we're going to report your stats, your metrics to the internet. Go play someplace where a coach can see you who likes players, who's trying to recruit players, and preferably a place where 10, 12, 25, 50 coaches can see you at one time, because coaches and scouts run in packs. And when they see something they like, they can't help but to share that with each other. And sometimes they share it with body language, sometimes they share it with excessive note-taking, sometimes they share it while having lunch between, sometimes they send a text message to someone else, but they're going to share if you fit them or somebody they know. But they need to see that. So seeing it is either going to a showcase and showing solid tools, or playing in a game as a plow horse and just repeatedly showing up, being a playmaker, being involved in the plays, backing up bases, having great at-bats, intense into the game, unbelievable attitude and effort. Doing those things in the games will get you a long way. Understand, if coaches are coming to watch you play and you play 21 innings in front of them, Every one of the 21 innings, for those of us who are in the below to average area, every one of those 21 innings is vital to your ability to earn an opportunity to play at their school. And it takes one play out of those 21 innings for them to say, doesn't work for me, because your tools aren't strong enough to overcome the fact that you did something that they don't like. If you're on this end, you're going to get a lot more opportunities to make a mistake because your tools say, I can put up with that kind of behavior, and maybe even teach him how to not do that, because the product that's going to come out of him is going to be so much greater. Now, here's where this gets difficult. There's 3 tools here that are hard to evaluate. They're difficult. For the average evaluator, they're not easy. For the below average evaluator, they're impossible. And for most parents, they're impossible. Can you hit? Why is that so hard? People are like, oh, he's got a great batting average. He's got this, that, and the other. Hey, there's a ton of guys who have great batting averages who can't hit the excellent fastball, the excellent slider, the excellent changeup, and they'll never get to it. There's a ton of guys who have light tower power in batting practice that can never get to good pitching to hit a ball over the fence. So there's playable power, which means you can get to your power in the game, and then there's batting practice power, which means you can't get to the power in the game. And how much time and energy and resources are we going to invest to find out if you can do these things? So for your hit tool, the way you can improve and be determined if you can hit is to go out and play with your hit tool against players who are on the farther end of this spectrum, pitchers who are on the farther end of this spectrum, and prove over time that you can put the ball in play, that you can have good at-bats. Over time could mean 3 games, could mean 2 games, it could mean 25 games. You have to determine how you travel and find those events and figure out if you can play at that level. And if you do that, you're going to have some very good days if you have the ability to hit. And you're going to have some very bad days if you have the ability to hit, because quite frankly, hitting is the hardest tool on the board. Hitting for power is a hard tool as well, and not everybody has the ability to do it. But if you can hit for power and you can't hit, it's going to be hard to get to your power. It's becoming more and more prevalent because now guys can go out there and just swing for the fences and get a chance to strike out 200 times. It does happen, but it's hard to do. The tools that are going to separate you right away are the tangible tools. If you come out there and run your face off, that's going to be immediately like, hey man, we like that. That guy can run. He's got a chance to do some things. He can make some mistakes and overcome them with speed. If you come out there and throw your face off, you're going to turn some heads. People think it's sexy when guys throw. Coaches and scouts think it's sexy. Parents and people who aren't evaluators think it's sexy. It's unbelievable. And then the separator, guys, is defense. Defense separates players who are lesser up here and lesser down here from everybody else. And here's why. The game is played the majority of the time on defense. If you're a guy who can consistently defend, then you will consistently get the opportunity to be on the field when the game is on the line, because you're not going to let in more runs than you drive in. You're going to continue to get opportunities to play at a high level because you defend at a high level. And it's not hard to do. Now, it might be hard to become an excellent defender, but it's not hard to maintain excellent defense. It's hard to maintain excellent hitting. It's hard to maintain excellent power. It's hard when you get to be 22, 23, 24 to continue to throw the ball at an elite level. Your body starts struggling to run. But guys continue to get better at defense over time through age and maturity. They learn how to do a better job with taking care of their arm and how to make the ball carry better. They learn how to position themselves pre-pitch better. They're already good with good hands and good feet. And this is something that can be determined between the ages of, can be developed between the ages of 9 and 18. And then at 18, when the game gets faster, or when you get to college, it can be developed even greater. And when you get to professional baseball, it can be developed even greater because the game gets faster and stronger, and then your tools that you have as a baseline grow. So defense grows as you get better. If you're a solid to above average defender, As a youngster, you have a chance to be an excellent defender as an adult. If you have a average to above average hit tool, which is hard to give to a high school player, and you go face excellent pitching, that gives you the best chance to be an above average hitter, an excellent hitter. So understand that this foundation of the tools and how they are evaluated, and as you can see, all this white space here is just a blank blah that we need to kind of fill in with, yes, I'm an excellent defender. Yes, I have the ability to be an excellent hitter. Yes, I have the ability to show excellent power. That needs to be filled in by everyday work and by allowing people to see that you have those skills. If you don't, then you need to go find somebody that can help you develop those skills. If you do, then you need to showcase them. If you have power, go to a showcase. That's the only one tool you need. Hit balls over the lights a whole bunch of times. Coaches will be pouring out to see you play. If they come to see you play and you're not putting balls in play and hitting balls over, then that's not playable power. But if you do, they're going to be interested in seeing you, and there's going to be a great time that you went to a showcase. If you're an excellent runner and you roll out there and you run a 6.4 at one of these events, coaches will be pouring out to watch you play because you're excellent. It's hard to find another excellent player. But the most of us are going to be here in the 6'9", 6'8", 6'7" range, and we're going to fit in with all the other players. And we're going to have to add to that, oh, well, I run a 6'8", but I'm an above average thrower, and people believe my defense has a chance to be average to excellent. Now, if you want to be known as a plus defender, this is a kind of a bonus advice right here. The chances of you being a plus defender are greatly improved if you play in the center of the field. Center field, shortstop, catcher. Those three guys are typically known as premium defenders. The next position that you could be known as a premium or an elite or an excellent defender would be third base. There are some excellent, premium, well-known second basemen, but they're typically overlooked because people think of second base as being a much easier position. And second base has become an offensive position, which is the way the game is developing at the Power 4 or the MLB level. At the youth levels, at the high school level, you can be a very good youth level and high school player. Unfortunately, that's not on this chart. Being a good high school player, having good high school numbers, having a good ability to perform in the games at the high school level is not necessarily on this chart. When I was a young scout, I was told by my scouting director, every high school hitter is a 2. If you give me a high school hitter that's better than a 2, currently, at the time they play, you're going to get fired. You'd have to be able to say, hey, this guy's a 2, and this is why he's going to become a 5. I would have to be able to do that. Hey, this guy is a 2, and this is why he's going to be a 6. And the first time I heard that, I was like, well, man, how the heck do you do that? How's the guy go from here to there? But after a year or two of scouting, it became obvious to me how to evaluate that, how to see that. And at the beginning, I had to see players play against the highest level to determine it. Then once I learned what I was looking for, I started to be able to see bat speed, balance, timing, the ability to make adjustments in the right spot, how to say, hey, I see this guy has enough fast twitch to get to any pitch that's coming, but he doesn't have enough wherewithal to not swing or to slow himself down to swing at the slow pitches that he's having to face. And I can give you lists of players that have been excellent, excellent, excellent players in the summer that weren't great high school players. Because in the summer they were getting challenged with quality fastballs, and the guy on the mound wanted to throw a fastball, and they were wanting to hit fastballs. As the game evolves, that pitcher isn't going to be worried about can he throw a fastball, but he is going to be able to throw at 98. So he can throw 98 and have sliders and changeups, and I can get to 98, and I still have to learn how to hit the slider and the changeup. Now we have something to work on in the minor leagues. I hope that makes sense to you. If I can only get to 78, he's throwing 98, I don't have anything to work on in the minor leagues. I have to get to a baseline of tools that give me a chance to play at the highest level. And it doesn't matter at all who's going to be asking you to play at the highest level if your tools are on the bottom end. People want to say, hey, all this kid does is get people out. All this kid does is become very successful on the field. But if his tools don't get past below average, he's not going to get the opportunity to play at the highest level. There will be players that you watch. There are current players right now that you watch that scouts will tell you they're not going to draft. He doesn't have a chance for them, whose numbers are ridiculous. Their numbers are off the chart. And rather than point out the obvious, I'm just going to tell you to continue to watch the game. If you're a player who's in the ages of 13 to 17, go develop your tangible tools. If you're an infielder, become an elite defender. Find high school players who can defend and go work on being better than they are. It can be done. Find college players who can defend, work out with them, and work on being better than they are. Find a coach who can help you defend at the most elite level you possibly can. And continue to work on your hitting and your hit for power tool, and test yourself against the best fastballs you can, the best sliders you can, and be ready to compete at the highest level. So should you attend showcases, if you have more than one above average tool, you can go to showcases and create attention for yourself for them to come watch you play. If you have 3 to 5 tools, you can go to professional baseball showcases and create attention for scouts to come watch you play. If you don't have tools that are average to above, if your tools are average to below, no, you don't need to go to showcases. And now what people will say to me is, well, Karl, there's a bunch of schools out there that aren't interested in players that have average to above tools. I'd say malarkey. They all want players that have average to above tools. Now, they may not be in a place where they're able to get those players, but they want them. So the point was, there's a bunch of schools that have to take players who have average to below average tools. And I would say it's hard to go to a showcase and say, yes, please come to my school. You throw 75 across the infield. Yes, please come to my school. You run a 7.4 60. That's hard to embrace. Now, does it mean that people aren't going to do it? No, there's going to be guys who have to take those players. You have to find very specific showcases that are looking for those type players. If you're going to showcases that are looking for these players and you have these tools, you're wasting your time, your money, and the people who are there's time and money. So if you're in this area, you need to find showcases, and you have to go to a showcase. You need to find showcases that are looking for these players. But if you're going to a showcase where your numbers are going to be posted on the internet, or where coaches from the Power 4 level and high-level Division I and national championship style Division IIs are going to see players, your tools need to be here. And if they are, then a showcase gives you a chance to have coaches come to watch you play. And if they're not, they don't. Thanks for your time today. Let's go win another day. If you're ready to lead your son at a higher level, follow the podcast and step behind the shield.